What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Broke Creatives Podcast. We are back.
And we're staying.
And we are staying.
It's episode 13. Can you believe it? Episode
13.
Also,
that's pretty sick.
No, you're going to psych me out again. Okay, anyways, it's 2023 too, which means like we're into a whole new year. Last year was insane.
Definitely at the end of the year, it was very, I wouldn't say necessarily hectic, but we had so many plans going on, so many projects going on.
We had things that were planned and things that weren't planned.
And then there were some things that were planned and didn't happen.
And then there were things that just kind of happened and fell into place. And it's kind of. I feel like that's every entrepreneur's story, though, is that they talk about all of these things. We'll talk about that in a little bit because that's part of what we're talking about later.
Yes, it is.
But we'll start with an unpopular opinion, like always. So you ready
Absolutely.
for this? This one is near and dear to your heart. Anyways, it says it's okay to be grateful and still want more at the same time. That's a good one.
That is.
What do you have to say about it?
Where do you start?
I don't know. You're the starter.
Because I think, okay, so what kind of triggered this conversation or this thought was the conversation of there's a lot of people that want more and that see themselves doing more.
Yeah.
They just don't have the grit.
Yeah.
They don't have the want. And there's a lot of people that say, I'm going to go do this. But then all of a sudden they say it's too hard.
Yeah.
Or it's not what I expected. And so sometimes we look at our dreams and we want more for ourselves.
Yep.
But at the same time, those dreams aren't exactly where God has called us to be.
Right.
So they could be self-goals. They could be goals that we've created ourselves in our own mind, in our own spirit, in our own just thought process in our everyday life. Sometimes we can get caught in the conversation with ourselves and like in our head where we see ourselves in a position and we just want to be somewhere else.
Yeah.
We want to be in a new place, in a new space, in a new studio, but we just don't know how to get there.
Yeah.
And so I think it ties into who you surround yourself with.
Yeah.
That's driving this unpopular opinion, this thought process. And so that's kind of where I'll start my portion of my thoughts of that. So what do you think about it?
I think that there's a lot of people that have this, they have this comfort zone that they like to stay in. And it's like, cool, let me find an easy goal that, especially like now that it's 2023, everybody's talking about, creating their new goals and like, what are their things that they want to accomplish this year? And one of the things that I think a lot of people do, especially entrepreneurs, is they're like, okay, what's a goal that's attainable? Like
Right.
I even had that thought process this morning as I was going through and just kind of nailing down some goals specifically for like my personal life, my business, my family, and what that's going to look like. And I was even thinking at first, I'm like, okay, cool. What's something that I know I can achieve?
Yeah.
But I think that so many people look for what they can achieve so they can check a box off, but then they don't want to worry about moving past that.
Right.
And I think that sometimes people think that like you can't necessarily move past that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of time, like I like having goals that I want to try to achieve, but like I don't feel bad if I don't achieve the goal, but I got close.
Right.
Because I know that at the end of the day, I still tried my hardest and I got towards that goal. And so there was some progress that was being made. And maybe that it'll take me another month or two to finish the goal.
Yeah.
But
I would say, so sorry to interrupt you,
go ahead.
but my thought, another thing that goes along with what you're saying is it goes along with what we've been struggling with is as a studio, we've been wanting to scale this thing to the point where we can be not necessarily completely hands off, but to the point where it can kind of operate on itself so that we can focus on our goals and our dreams that we want to expand to. And it's going to be great.
yeah,
2023 is going to be amazing. But so what I'm saying is there's this thing, I forgot what it's called. We've created systems that have too many steps. And I say that because we've been working on figuring out what do we not need in our system that we don't necessarily need. What are those things that are taking too much time?
Yeah.
What are those things that are not necessarily difficult, but not necessary in order to make that next step happen?
It's like overcomplicating things.
Overcomplicating things. And so when we go into 2023, or not just 2023, but a new year, when we go into a new year, we have all of these check boxes that we have to check off. But do you necessarily have to have all of these check boxes checked off in order to reach that goal? Because to me, is your goal too difficult? Is it a dream? Is it a short term? Is it a long term? What kind of goal is it that you're trying to get? And so my thought is sometimes we can overcomplicate our dreams. And we can overcomplicate and lengthen the years or the months it takes to accomplish our dreams. And I know we always talk about your skill set, mindset, and network. And I feel like in order to not necessarily expand your checklist to make it easier for you to view your vision or your goal or your dream, why not surround yourself with people that allow these check boxes to automatically be checked off? So do you have the right network for your dreams to happen? Do you know? So for example, there's a book that I was reading, and I was actually talking to someone about this. It's a book, and I forgot, and I honestly need help. So if you guys know the book that I'm talking about, please put it in the comments, because I cannot find this book. You may know what it is, but it's a book that literally shifted my mindset on the network that I created and the people I connected with. And as a creative, as a business owner, as a entrepreneur, it has shifted my mindset so much. And I read it in... Yes, Jarrett?
Nothing.
You had that look on your face of like...
No. I'm trying to think of what book it could be. I know Atomic Habits is a really good book.
That was a whole moment right there. That was a Sean and Jarrett moment. Anyways, so there's a book that gives you... It's a list of people that you need in your life to succeed. There's an AC guy. There's a real estate agent. There's a doctor. There's a banker. There's an investor. It's a list of people, and they each have these personality types that you need in your life. And so every individual person that you introduce or you connect with within your network are going to help you succeed in every single dream that you come up with. And so I look at my life, and I was dreaming or setting my goals for 2023, and this is what I was kind of referring back to is in just a year, Jarrett, I'm not joking, every single person in this book, in this list of people, have entered my life, and everything has shifted tremendously. And it's like, okay, I got to find this book because everyone is like checking off all these things.
Were you an intern?
Yeah. All of these things were like checked off in order to make everything else basically be prepared for 2023. And I know we're going to touch on a little bit on 2023, so it's going to be great. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
But it's like, why did an AC / contractor walk into the studio? And so to wrap my thought back around is you were talking about check boxes. We check off boxes to accomplish things, to set goals, to accomplish dreams. And so sometimes we overcomplicate things as creatives. Not just creatives, but everybody.
It's entrepreneurs.
Yeah. And so, yeah, what are your thoughts on that of overcomplicating the steps to accomplish your dreams?
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of systems that can be used, and I think that there's a lot of people that have had trial and error with their systems. So there's one of the thing that kind of the thought process that kind of like shifted for me recently is it's like you can have all of these cool ideas. Odds are somebody has already tried the idea for you, and not for you, but in the space that you're in, in the area that you're in. And so like you don't have to go out and try these new things and fail. Like you can go actually have the right network to talk to people that have tried that thing before, especially when there's somebody that's been in the industry for a super long time or has gone through the whole, let's start a production company, let's start a business, let's do all of the things. And they've encountered a lot of the issues and the obstacles and the challenges and stuff like that. And I think that's one of the things that was crazy that I was like, oh, that makes so much sense. Is like, there's people that have done this before. Yeah. And I can talk to them about some of the things that we're going through. Now, there is a bunch of stuff that we're doing that not a lot of people have done before. There's a bunch of creatives, there's a bunch of entrepreneurs, there's a bunch of people in church. Like, church production people have my heart. Like, that is where I love to help people and see people grow. And I know that like we've had the opportunity of seeing a lot of that recently, just with people in, like, I mean, I know that you and I have both been helping some churches now already just up level their creative experience, their worship experience, all of that. And just in all of that, like, the value that we're bringing, that, like, I mean, I don't even think, like, I've always been, I guess you would say, a humble person. I'm like, I'm not like the expert, whatever. Like, I'm not, crazy knowledgeable. But then I see, like, when I walk into a place and I just help people, they're like, oh my gosh, like, we want whatever you guys have. Like, we'll pay whatever. And I'm like, I don't even want to charge you. Like, I just want to help because that's what I enjoy doing. But there's a lot of their systems that have been overcomplicated, which is what's causing a lot of their problems. But the reason that I'm able to help is because I've gone through the experience of being a production director at a church, operating with a smaller budget, but still wanting to have that big church feel and look. And I think that's the thing too, which we'll talk about that in a little bit. But that's the thing that I think a lot of people need and they want, but they don't know that they want it yet.
Yeah.
But anyways, wrapping up the unpopular opinion, it's okay to be grateful and still want more at the same time. I do think that people also feel like they can't want more because they were given something.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, hey, I gave you this car. You can't want a better car because you got this. Doesn't necessarily work that way.
So
you got the job. Hey, I gave you this opportunity. You can't want a better opportunity because I gave you this opportunity. Yeah. And it's like,
I mean,
it's okay to be grateful for the fact that you just got this opportunity and still capitalize on the opportunity, still do the opportunity, do it well, do it excellent. Not like only put half effort in.
Right.
I had to figure out how to be nice and say what I wanted to say, how to put only half effort in, but like actually put all of your effort in, but still want to have more in the future.
Yeah. I mean, I would even go as deep as saying that some people do feel the guilt. They feel the weight of really accepting the fact that they were given such a huge opportunity, and maybe for them it is huge. Maybe that one client that you get, that video client, it's like, oh wow, I just got my editing gig, or my first shoot, or my first cam op position. And a lot of people can be grateful for that. But I feel like some people begin to become stuck in that mindset of, I was given this opportunity with this specific person, with this specific client, and I have to continue doing work with this one client because they were given me the opportunity to be with them. Versus expanding their network, expanding their clientele to understand that what they're doing for this client currently can be doubled, if not tripled, in the same week or the same day necessarily, if you're doing photography and stuff. But you're given this opportunity, and I feel like some people just get stuck. So my question for you, Jarrett, is like, after your first job, your lighting gig, or honestly, let's just talk about it. So with your first tour with David and Tam, because I know a lot came out of that. And it wasn't just, oh yeah, I did lighting for David and Tam LeMan, but a lot of relationship came from that. And I know that relationships are built on three things. They're built on credibility, they're built on consistency, and then they're also built on just like the relational aspect.
Say that all again.
Relationships are built on the consistency. They're built on, what did I say?
Don't you hate it when that happens? Relationships are built on consistency, credibility. And what's your third one?
What was the third one?
You said relationship aspect or something like that.
Yeah, it was relationship aspect. I'll put some thought into that.
Okay. Anyways.
Oh man, that was good. That was really good. But yeah, so your relationship was built within that time, but it was the result that has led to so many more opportunities outside of David and Tam. It's given you the credibility to do so many more things because of that one opportunity. But if you would have got stuck with, oh wow, David and Tam gave me the opportunity to go on this tour, and you stuck with David and Tam, you would most likely not be sitting in the studio right now.
Right. Well, and I think that there's especially in the creative industry, like I think that there's a lot of people that are like, oh my gosh, I got this one, gig because of a referral. Like that's how most of production and creative and anything industry, really in this industry, that's how a lot of the jobs are done is referral or something like that. And I think that a lot of people, it goes back to the unpopular opinion, honestly. Like they can be like, I can be grateful for you for giving me the opportunity and helping me, advance my network, but then still want more at the same time.
Yeah.
Like that's okay. And I think a lot of creatives don't think that that's okay. Not that they don't think, they just feel the pressure or feel like there's an unmet expectation that they aren't allowed to go and want more when they were given this opportunity already. And I think that's one of the mindset shifts that is needing to happen in the creative industry specifically, is that you can, it's okay to like still, go do the things and be grateful for an opportunity that you've received, but still want to get better and go do more things.
It's being honest with yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. It is being honest with yourself. One of the things that we wrote down earlier was
relationships.
Oh, you got it.
Honesty. You have to be honest with yourself.
Yeah.
So relationships feed off of credibility, consistency, and honesty.
That's good. I like that.
This one's for you. Consistency is built off, or it feeds off of credibility, honesty, and consistency.
Consistency builds on consistency.
Consistency? Did I say consistency?
Yeah, you
consistency, honesty. Shoot, I forgot it again. It's okay.
It's okay.
It's okay. We can yeah. That was just my thought, is because sometimes you do have to be honest with yourself as a creative, or else you'll never want more for yourself.
One of the things that I wrote down when we were talking about what we were going to talk about for this one is that entrepreneurs often create a lot of goals but don't take action in them, which we talked about earlier. But most of the time, people think it's about raw talent that get people far, but it's more about the consistency that'll get people far. Talk about that a little bit.
Sorry, I had a quote in my head. I can't remember it, but it's okay. We'll write it down next time, like Jarrett. But so consistency. Consistency is so successful people.
Yeah.
Successful people, they want to be wealthy.
Yeah.
But in order to be wealthy, you have to have consistency.
Well, it's funny because I remember Josh Latimer said a quote, and the quote said, being a millionaire is way more about the balance in your bank account. Mm-hmm. It's about your mindset.
Yeah.
And I think that here it is. Wealth is more about time than it is money, too. That's also true. And I think that that's another thing, especially with the entrepreneurs that are trying to figure out how they can juggle all of the things, how they can, run this business over here, try to, coach these people here, mentor these people here, learn from these people here, and all of that. I think that there's with the moment that people realize that how much time they have is where their value is at. Like their time is so valuable, and I think that people forget a lot of that. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, being a millionaire has to do with your brain a whole lot more than it has to do with your bank account. Because another good quote that he said was, every time you read a book, you just made money. It's just not in your pocket yet.
Right.
Because of the amount of knowledge and the amount of wealth and the amount of value that you just put into your brain that you're going to help somebody. Like I can count how many times, like the amount of times that I've read a book and now like that thing that I remembered is now being like regurgitated into even this podcast. Yeah. It's a lot of the things that are helping people that I could say are based off of what I've read in the past and what I've learned in different situations and stuff like that.
One of these things, one of these quotes that I wrote down after I read this book, given by one of my mentors. But they said in the book, it says, consistency of performance is essential. You don't have to be exceptional every week, but as a minimum, you need to be at a level that even on a bad day, you get points on the board. So like
Yeah.
it goes back to
That's good.
staying consistent in not just one aspect of your life, but staying consistent in all aspects,
Yeah.
spiritually, mentally, physically, emotionally.
Yeah.
When you figure that piece out in life,
Yeah.
that's where wealth comes. That's where the generating income comes. That's
Yeah.
where the job opportunities come. That's where all the clientele comes from. All of it, once you have all of that aligned, that's where it'll lead into a better lifestyle as
Yeah,
a
well,
creative.
I think too, even with like the consistency piece, it's like knowing what your capacity is in order to be consistent.
Say that one more time.
Knowing what your capacity is in order to be consistent, because I can't be consistent in something if I don't know, or if like I'm like, oh yeah, I have capacity to do that, and then I add all of these things in, and like I can't even pull it off.
Yeah.
Like I'm dropping the ball so much on all of these other things that like are also priorities, and like
Right.
balls that are, you know, that you're like making sure that you have,
Mhm.
like, you know, different batons that you have, and dropping the ball on those to do other things is the part that you can't be consistent anywhere
Mm-hmm.
if you don't utilize your capacity.
Yeah.
But also I think it's stretching and expanding capacity season for a lot of people, which is a lot of fun.
It is. It is. And so and then I know we're talking about consistency and all of these things that kind of keep you on the right track.
Yeah.
But one of the most important thing is accountability.
Mm.
Who do you have in your network that is keeping you accountable? Who are those people that are texting you every morning and encouraging you? Who are you showing up to work with? Who are you surrounded by at work? And who are those people in your life that are leading you in a direction to success?
Yeah.
Because we can have dreams all day long. All day long. We can set goals. We can have these check boxes. And you can have as many check boxes as you want. Each check box can be a short-term goal,
Yeah.
leading to any dream possible. And every dream is possible, in my opinion. It's just, how are you going to get there? Who do you know? And so it's the who, not the how. I know we always talk about that too. But the accountability piece, surround yourself with those people this year.
Yeah.
Surround yourself. Come on, Sean.
Words are hard.
Surround yourself with these people that continue to encourage you.
Yeah.
So I want to shout out Jarrett, for example. And so some of us listening get these texts as well.
I was going to read one of them that I sent this morning. Anyways, go ahead.
This is my shout out to you. This is not your own shout out, Jarrett. All right. You're only getting one of these once, okay? But every single morning, Jarrett sends a text message to me, myself, and I, and many others, I'm sure. Many others.
Like
and so
6 people.
the thing is, I wanted to do this many years ago when I was in the internship, but I never did. And it's the consistency that gets you recognized. It's not doing it one
It's
time.
the intention.
It's the intention piece, but it's also, you can have intention to do it once a month, but you do it every single Monday. I'm not going to read a entire text message, but the text that I received from Jarrett this morning, let me find the best part of this. It says, let's see, sorry. But Jarrett, while I look at this and try and figure out, because there's a lot of questions, the thing about these text messages is there's a lot of questions that make you think. And in your life, you need people in your network that make you think deeper. And every time Jarrett sends this text message, it makes me go deeper every single week. And the reason why he sends it on a Monday is to get your mind set, ready to go for the week. And so, thank you. But speaking of intentionality and the consistency, kind of share the why behind what you do as I read this, and then I'll come back. But why do you do this, Jarrett?
Why do I do this? Well, it actually started, I was trying to figure it out when it started, because I've sent quite a few of them, quite a lot of them. But I remember getting, at one point there was, and I want to say it was like an automated thing. It wasn't even a super, not that it wasn't genuine, because I still got, like, I guess, fed from it per se. But it was a text that would go out to like a bunch of people or whatever. And I was like, man, I want to be able to encourage people the same way, but like I know that there's unique things for each person's situation. So like even these texts that I send it to probably like 8 people, 6 to 8 people. And I still like I have a obviously like one of the like the main message is pretty much the same, but like I'll go in and change it per person if there's something specific that I think that they want to hear, or they not that they want, that they maybe need to hear, or something specific that like could apply to their situation or something like that, which I really like and I think that is really cool. But I remember like the whole reason that I started doing it, and I had done something similar before, but I hadn't actually like followed through. And so I started it, I want to say in like the beginning of summer last year. And I just send a text message every single morning that is like an encouragement or a Bible verse or a question or some like a good quote that I learned, or something like if I was at church the Sunday before, so the day before, I'll send something that was like a note or a recap from that message that I heard, just something that I think that would really help and encourage people. And yeah, I think it's kind of why the why.
Yeah. I'm just going to read this last portion. I believe you sent this on, what was Tuesday? Last week?
Oh yeah, I did send it last Tuesday because it was Christmas.
Yeah, it
and
was
then
Christmas.
The day after
Yeah,
on Monday.
which happens. I mean,
But hey,
you
I
gotta,
do send it every week.
You do. And that's, I mean, yeah, it happens. It was on a Tuesday, but you come back to it every single time.
Okay, and then when you're done, because I wanted to talk about what my message was today, so I'm still going to talk about
sorry.
But
Well,
you go ahead.
I feel like this is important right now.
Okay.
But actually, I'm going to go to the one today because you're going to be like, oh, wow. Sorry, where did it go?
I have it right here if you want it.
You said, my goal as I head into 2023 this year is to be intentional or put purpose to every relationship, decision, and action that I do. And so he goes a little bit deeper and starts asking questions. And he says, what are you doing intentionally this year? So these are questions for you guys. What are you doing this year to be intentional? And then the next question is, what are some things that you want to do on purpose for a purpose this year? And then you go into saying, love you so much, go crush it. I love you too, Jared. But you tell us to write it out, to sit down, get our notebooks, get our planners, get our calendars, and start writing it out. Write our goals out, write the plan out, write those check boxes for this year.
Yep.
And this encouragement just speaks volumes to who Jared is as a person. And I give Jared a shout out because there's a lot of things that go on behind the scenes that he doesn't get noticed for. And so great job, Jarrett. Intentionality, the consistency in everything that you do is absolutely phenomenal. So
Thank you.
let's, I forgot why we went that direction, but I think it's just the consistency.
We were talking about intention. So that's because I'm gonna read this and then we can land the plane. But the beginning part of the message that I wrote is I actually think is something really cool, and so I'm gonna share it with you.
Yep.
It says, it's 2023. As I look back at last year, I think about all the relationships, achievements, and the moments that happened, and I can't help but be grateful. I've been praying into the transition into 2023, asking God for a word for me for this year, which I do every year. It's something that I know at a lot of churches, they do stuff like that, but I don't, like, I'll still set goals and stuff like that, but I usually, pray into finding a word like that God gives me that is going to be something that everything that I do is going to be formed around that word. And so last year my word was accelerate, which boy did we accelerate. Yeah, God has a sense of humor because I was not expecting the acceleration that we had last year. And we opened a studio and we opened another studio and we both got into relationships and
Did we?
I think so. I think we did. Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we did.
They're both definitely going to watch this podcast.
I think the word accelerate should be for 2023 as well.
No, I think so my word for 2023 is intention. Intention means an act or instance of determining mentally upon some action or result. And so then I started figuring that out, like in the Bible where intention was used. And it was in Jeremiah 1:5. It says, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. And before you were born, I consecrated you. I appointed you as a prophet to the nations. So, while explaining his call as a prophet, God tells Jeremiah he was appointed long before he was conceived in his mother's womb. God didn't just know who Jeremiah would be, but he planned it. He had a purpose to it, which is kind of where I went to, like, intention is putting purpose to what you're wanting to do. So not just doing a thing because you're doing it, but actually having a why behind it and a purpose. And so I think even going into this year with all of the different opportunities and decisions and achievements and all of the things is having a purpose behind it, not just doing it to check a box, not just doing it to say you did it, but actually having purpose. So like even with our relationships, like there's going to be some crazy stuff that happens this year with our relationships. And it's going to be crazy, but like knowing that there is a purpose and there is an intention behind every single thing that we're doing is going to be, I think it's going to be crazy. So I did say at the very end, I said, write it out, make it plain, put it somewhere visible to you daily and see how God aligns things to make your dreams happen. Anyways, all that to say, landing the plane now.
Wow.
If you aim at nothing, you'll hit it every time.
There it is.
There it is. That's one of my favorite quotes. Yeah. It is in my quote thing. Go ahead.
I think you were going there as well. But in 2023, we are going to, as Broke Creatives and as the audience, we are going to hit the ground running with so many incredible things that we have been working with and on in the silence.
In the silence.
In the silence.
It's actually a really good song. Anyways.
So, Jarrett, let's touch base on what the website is.
Yeah.
The website is...
I'll just go for it. Okay, so inside the website, there's all kinds of stuff. There is hats like this, which are pretty cool.
There are hats.
There's hats there, and then there's another kind of hat. It says no idle hours on it, which is just kind of one of our sayings. Because when you're an entrepreneur, you're creative, you're doing all the things. There is no such thing as idle hours, ever. Sean, what time were you working this morning?
4:30.
Yeah, I knew that too. That's why I asked him. Anyways, and so
4:30.
I think it was 3. Anyways,
it was 3.
Anyways, with all of that being said, so on the website we have, obviously there's a store on there. There's also a link to join our community on Facebook. So we're actually we already have a group on there, but I'm actually working on creating an exclusive group that's specifically for you people that are listening to the podcast that want to join and want to have community. Inside of that group, we'll have different lives that'll happen on there. We'll have different just different conversations, different polls, different ways of helping people. Also, these text messages that I send out, I'm gonna start putting them inside that group. That way, people can be encouraged by those in the mornings, on Mondays. Also, there's this crazy huge long list of quotes that I actually have this note on my computer. It's called Life Changing, and I think Sean's on it. There's a bunch of people on it. I'm pretty sure
that are in our life.
Yeah. Womp womp. Remove. Anyways, but there's a bunch of quotes on here that are crazy. So there's a bunch of quotes on here that are crazy, and like you aren't responsible for the outcome, you're responsible for the attempt. That's a good one. There's so many good ones on here. Anyways, and so I'm gonna get those and put those onto the community as well. And then the other thing is we're working on a workshop for creatives, entrepreneurs, stuff like that. Because how many creative entrepreneurs are introverted? Most of them. And how many people are living paycheck to paycheck wishing they could make more money?
Right.
Most of them. So we're going to work on helping you understand how to double your income without having to sell a thing. Because I know for me personally, that was one of my biggest things that I hated was selling and or even having the conversation about prices and stuff like that. And so in that workshop, we're going to kind of work on diving into how to do that, how to do it better, how to frame it to where you're making the client understand how valuable you are without having to beg them to understand how valuable you are.
Yeah.
Because a lot of creatives are so underpaid, they're overworked, underpaid, and they wish they could make more money and go do all the things that they want to do, but they can't because they're just too busy working whatever the next gig is that they have. So
underappreciated.
Yeah. Anyways, that's all I have. I know that you can go and like and subscribe on YouTube, on Instagram, on Facebook. The link for the Facebook group is going to be on the link in our bio on Instagram. So we'll have it in there. You can go join it. It's
Honestly,
it's there right now.
Hey,
so,
Jarrett.
yeah.
I know this is like super last minute. There's this really cool dude in the studio. There's this really
Come on,
cool guy,
Willie.
and
Come say
he
hi.
actually handles all of our social media. And I know
He does so freaking much, and
he does so
he
freaking
needs
much.
to come out here.
Yeah. So Willie, let's go ahead and take this center cam.
Yeah, just take the center cam.
Take
It'll
the
be
center
great.
cam,
But
and
while you're
make
coming
your
out
way
here, I'm gonna
out here.
talk really quick. So Will,
Yep.
what he does here at the studio is he does literally everything. So he manages all of our social media for all of the. He just walked in, so we're waiting for him. He manages all the social media. So he does. We have, I think, 4 different channels that we're doing right now in the studio, and also Broke Creatives. So that's a 5th one. So he handles all of the social media for that. He creates the posting schedules. He does all of the posting for the ones that we're still working on, some stuff that we're having issues with Meta Business and all that. Because
there's been a lot of brand shifts because of his knowledge, not just his knowledge, but his willingness to study branding.
yeah.
What does a brand need?
But let
and the
me
look
tell you,
and
the
everything.
amount of capacity. So I've known this kid since he was, I say kid, he's like 23 now, 22. Yep, 22. Anyways, I've known him since he was like 14. He was with me when I was on staff at the church. He was a stage crew member. He was this annoying little punk. Anyways,
Literally.
it was so funny because we talked for the longest time about wanting to do like stuff outside of the church and do like build a company and stuff with like our dream team. And when Will came, I was like, this is the dream team right here. Literally, this is it. And so he's literally started as an AV tech here. He was doing all of the horrible things that nobody wants to do, but like you still have to do, like moving all the cameras around, moving equipment, breaking walls down. I mean, you name it, he was doing it. He was doing all kinds of crazy stuff. And then we were like, hey, we're expanding and shifting like how we're doing things. So we're going up to doing all the social media stuff. And Will is like one of the most trendy people. So
Literally.
yeah, I'm like, yeah, he is. Anyways, so he started doing everything, and he's over there smiling because he's also become a words of affirmation person. So I know this is really just like turning the key for him. Anyways, but he's a freaking amazing.
So we're gonna do something. We have a little bit of time left. So Willie, I want you to come over here, please.
I hope
And
you all
Jarrett,
heard that
I want
sigh.
you-
I don't think you did.
I want you
This is
to
William.
stay right there. Stay right there.
I'm not moving.
Willie,
I'll
I'm
let
gonna.
you sit here. You want
No,
to
no,
sit
no.
in my seat?
Well, I was gonna put you in my seat and let Jarrett just ask you just a question about the intentionality piece and the consistency piece.
Oh yeah, that's
So
good.
any question Jarrett comes up with, I want you to answer.
Okay.
Take the seat.
Here we go.
This is real fun because he
This is on the spot.
talked about
right
not wanting to do this for so long.
At
And
all.
Sean, you could go in and switch if you want to, and then we'll just land the plane and
Oh, we're getting cinematic with this. We're not just gonna stay on one camera. Okay.
yeah, that's right. Anyways, Will, how are you? You're finally on the show.
Doing so good. I'm doing so good.
Anyways, so we were actually talking with Will, probably I want to say like, I don't know, a couple weeks ago. We were talking about what we were grateful for in the end of the year, stuff like that. And one of the things he mentioned was that his capacity was expanded way farther than he thought he was going to be able to expand it, because obviously all of the things you started technically working here April 1st, because that's when the company was formed. But before that, you were just contracted to one of us. I don't know. We'll figure out who the 1099 comes from. But yeah, I guess we should figure that out. But anyways, capacity. So like a year ago, you would have had no idea that you would be doing this.
Not even close.
Not even close. And
No.
it's crazy because like, I mean, a year ago today, I was flying out to go to Florida to do today was a horrible day a year ago because my hard drive formatted today a year ago with all of the LED wall content to open up Winter Jams tour for the openers.
And is it weird that I'm going to Florida tomorrow?
Oh, that is kind of
Some weird stuff.
anyways, here we are. But anyways, so yeah, we were doing that, but I would have never thought obviously that we would be in the studio. And then I knew, because obviously like Sean, I brought him here. I was like, hey, come look at this. And then he was like, they're like, okay, cool, we need to start building a team. I'm like, I need to get Will to come up here. And like you came for a little bit, you weren't even paid. You were just coming to hang out. And I was like, Will, I promise you it's gonna be worth it. And I felt like you were like, maybe we'll see. But because I mean, how many times has that happened to us before where we've gone into situations that are like, oh yeah, it's gonna be worth it. Like, just stick around for the long haul. And obviously you're not there. So clearly the long haul was not a thing.
It was always that, like, it's too good to be true.
Yep.
But this is one of those where it was like, no, it's absolutely true.
Yeah. And here we are a year almost, well, I guess like 9 months later, but doing the studio. You're going to Florida tomorrow. You're actually going because Ashley and Josh are both going to be at a summit, like a Conquer summit. And so you're going to be capturing social media the entire time you're there. You got the
Filming,
GoPro, all of the things now. So it's going to be fun. So what is your take on like the consistency piece for what what you've been doing? Because obviously your role has shifted. So you were in the AV tech position. You were doing, all of the just setting up cameras, capturing data management, which has been the bane of my existence. So I'm glad that you do it now. But then shifting over into social media and like having to keep up with the trends and all of that. But then at the same time, still doing AV tech stuff because other people are just like, we are still trying to figure out that position.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on consistency with all of that?
So consistency as far as with like the process, or consistency?
Yeah. So like the consistency of like, obviously like you're still doing all of the work, but like I guess the intentionality too, you could say, is like knowing that everything you're doing does have a purpose and that what you're doing is on purpose. So like even adding new things and it's expanding your capacity, which it's expanding your capacity a lot.
Absolutely. I would say, I mean, I think back to 12, 13-year-old Will on Crew Team. It was the consistency of continuously wanting to learn new things.
Yeah.
And just being open to that.
Yeah.
And sticking through it. Because, I mean, it was the simple idea of learning how, like, a DI box works. Or, the correct way to plug in a tuner, which was a thing. I mean, it's all of that led to eventually, getting into the real production world outside of just churches. And then, through that, I met people that allowed me to get into even working in like the IT world, and I was traveling doing that. And then I got a drone. So then that actually allowed me to, as I was traveling, develop my like portfolio of drone pictures. And it was just, it's crazy how everything, I always said it, it's like anytime I felt like there was a dip, there was always the ability that just the next thing happened.
Yeah.
And it's so crazy how it happened every single time within days that I just knew God was like taking me through every single time.
It's crazy too. It's because like every time that you would be like, oh my gosh, like this might be the rut that I go into and I stick in because it's like it just stuck.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden it's like something blows up.
Every time.
Yeah.
Every time. And I really think it was just that it was the consistency of just sticking through the process of continuously wanting to learn and just being open to, I mean, I guess it's just the meeting new people and just the developing relationships.
Yeah.
And those two things.
Because we've met a lot of cool people this year.
So many cool people. It's crazy.
Yeah. But anyways, well, thanks for doing all of the things. He's the one that's literally editing this entire podcast. He cuts up, makes reels whenever we have reels. He has set up the website. Hey, I like your hat because I'm wearing the same one. He's the one that designed the hats. He literally does all of it. So
brocreatives.com/store shop. Which one? It'll work. Either one will work.
Yeah, we'll make it store. So go to brocreatives.com/store and we'll make sure that that's it, because it will be it. But besides that, thanks for doing all the things.
Okay, Sean, you can come back out.
No. We're landing the plane. So tell them, like, subscribe, all of the things, since you run all of that. So tell them all the places they need to go. I know that there's YouTube. They can go like, subscribe on there. Is there a TikTok?
There is a TikTok.
There is a TikTok. So you can follow us on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. There is a Facebook group that's launched now. So you can literally go to the link in the bio on our Instagram. Go to it. There's a link tree. You can get all of the things there. So like our website's on there, our YouTube channel's on there, our where you can join the Facebook group. And then, yeah.
I'd say that's the best place to go. Go to the link tree in the bio on the Instagram, and you'll literally have the links to everything.
Yeah,
so
it's going to be great. Cool. Anyways, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week. We're not stopping. We're here and we're here to stay.
2023.
Deuces.